Hey everybody, it's me, Jose Segura, your SMEA president. Welcome to another episode of Fireside Chat with the President. All right, good to see everyone. Well, can't really see you, but you can see me, so that's the same thing, right? Not really. Anyway, hey, welcome to the new episode. Here's what we're going to cover this episode. In this episode, we're going to talk about OneDrive, Microsoft 365, free for educators, the final approval of our unit modification, the other day's school board meeting and a letter that your executive board wrote to them. We're going to announce our site teachers of the year, our district teacher of the year, and we're going to talk a little bit about the state's May revised budget that came out yesterday. So if you haven't seen that yet, go back to the video, to the email that this video was attached to. You'll see a link to the May 14th some governor's press conference. The entire press conference is really all about the May revise, about the proposed budget for the next fiscal year. So anyway, let's get going here. Let's talk about our teacher of the year. So I want to be the one to formally and officially announce our 2019-2020 District Teacher of the Year. So for those of you who have been keeping track of dates that have just kind of flown by, yesterday, May 14th, May 14th should have been our annual SMEA member recognition dinner, where we recognize our teachers of the year, both site and district, our retirees, scholarship winners, the whole shebang and caboodle. But unfortunately, under the current circumstances, we were not able to do that this year. But I do want you to all know that this year's District Teacher of the Year is Diana Lamb. Diana Lamb. Woo! Diana Lamb is a first grade teacher over at Sanchez Elementary. She's been a member of SMEA since 1999, and she's just an outstanding educator, and she's an outstanding SMEA member. When I say that, what I mean is she gets herself really involved. Whenever we need somebody to step up and step in, Diana is always ready to do that. So not only does she do that at her site with her kids and with her site staff, but she does that for our district, and she also does that within our association. So Diana was an outstanding choice. The District Teacher of the Year is selected by your executive board from all the nominations that come in. And so we're super, super pleased to announce that Diana Lamb, first grade teacher, Sanchez Elementary, is this year's District Teacher of the Year. All right, boom. Okay, Site Teachers of the Year. Now we have 21 school sites, right? So that's a lot of people. So what I did was, back at the email that this video was attached to, I attached a document that lists every Site Teacher of the Year. So if you want to know, well, who's the Site Teacher of the Year over at Miller or Bruce or Tunnel or Fessler or El Camino or Arianes, go to the list. Chances are there's going to be names on that list that you see, because these are the same kind of folks you see in committee meetings. You see them in district-wide panels. You see them, putting on events at their school. They're the ones that are always out front and doing what needs to be done. And it's a great bunch of folks. And so really, I want you to go over to back to the email, pull that list up, and read every single one of them. Because right below that, or right above that list, is our list of district association retirees. And I want you to know that list of retirees, again, go back to the email, you'll see a link to retirees. Those are all the retirees that I was aware of as of middle of last month. Now, if anybody's put in for retirement since then, they weren't on that list. So I get that list from the district. I don't make it myself, so I really rely on them to provide me with that information. But if you're retiring from education this year, congratulations to you. I'm sure you've had an amazing career. Education's just been wild the last 15, 20 years. And, of course, right now things are just completely, off the rails. But congratulations to everyone who's retiring. And those of you who are considering retiring, we'll make sure that we catch you and make sure we include you. We're still doing retiree gifts. We're still doing Teacher of the Year gifts. We're still doing District Teacher of the Year gift. Those things are still happening. We have already contacted JC Trophy, which is the local company that we use for awards, and they are already in the process of getting our awards put together. So we haven't forgotten you, even though the dinner was canceled, and we're hoping to have some kind of a little trick up our sleeve to celebrate you all, but we haven't quite nailed it down yet, but we're getting there. All right. Cool. Okay, I know a lot of you want to know about the May revise from yesterday, but real quick, let's jump to something called OneDrive. So Microsoft has something called OneDrive, or Microsoft 365. Essentially, Microsoft 365 is their version of Google Drive, right? It has their entire Microsoft Office suite that's embedded in 365, but instead of being housed in your machine, right, as software, it's a virtual or cloud-based platform now, so that I can log into my 365 from any machine, whether it's a Chromebook or a PC or a laptop, and I can access my account and pull up all of my existing Word docs and spreadsheets and so on. So if you're a big fan of Office Suite, but you like the convenience of Google Drive, then Microsoft 365 just may be what you're looking for. The reason I'm telling you all about this is because right now it is free to teachers and educators. And so you can go in, quickly create an account. It's free to you. I started using it recently, and I got to tell you, the reason why I started using it was because the Microsoft 365 version of Windows, when you're logged on, that version, I'm sorry, not Windows, but of Word, that version of Word, which is their word processing program, allows you to do voice to text. In the standard version of Word, that's not an option. And so it's super cool. So you can go on there, you can do you can do, speech to text. Sorry, I guess not word to text, because text is words. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, you can do speech to text, which I use for a lot of different things. So to have one more platform that allows me to use speech to text is really awesome. So anyway, that is Microsoft 365. It's part of the OneDrive world, and it's free to educators. Okay, next thing. So we have about 920 or so members in our association, pretty decent sized group. But I want to let you all know that we have officially received word from PERB, the Public Employees Relations Board, that they've accepted our petition and approved our petition to now include teacher tutors as part of SMEA. So congratulations to our teacher tutors. We're super, 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 super excited to have you as members of our association. So we were able to kind of expand the brothers and sisters of SMEA to include teacher tutors, which is just amazing. And those of you who work with them, have them at your sites, know what kind of hard work they put in every day and every hour that they're on campus. And we really appreciate all their efforts. They are educators. They should be part of our association, part of our union, and now they officially are. And so we're super excited to expand our unit, our association unit, include these folks into it. And of course, we will be bargaining on their behalf in the not too distant future, so we can actually incorporate them into our contract, get language and such for those folks. So we're super excited that teacher tutors are now officially members of SMEA. Boop. And if you're a teacher tutor and you're watching this, we'll be sending you out SMEA shirts. We'll send you out the order form so you can have your blue SMEA swag and wear it proudly on Thursdays. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Next thing was the letter. So on Wednesday, there was a school board meeting, and the way the virtual school board meetings are working now, instead of showing up in person and doing your 3-minute of public comment time where you get to, talk directly to the board. Well, since you can't actually physically go there, they're accepting written statements that are read out loud during the board meeting. And in this case, they were read by Mr. Ontiveros. And so SMEA submitted a letter signed by all of your executive board members. So not just me, but also Kristen Lohr, your first vice president, Michael Schaefer, your second vice president, Marissa Philly, your third vice president, Jose Rodriguez, your SMEA treasurer, SMEA secretary, and then Mark Jones, your SMEA treasurer. And so we all sent this letter, and it was read out loud at the board meeting. And what we're asking the board to do is to consider a possible buyout for early retirement incentive package. We're really looking at those folks, those SMEA members who are a little bit older, so they're in a high-risk category right now. And I know that there's a lot of concern about, well, what happens next year when we come back in the fall, and how will we be protected from contracting the coronavirus? And if we do contract it, what are our protections for securing our health and safety, or protecting our positions and our jobs, our sick leave and that kind of stuff? Well, we can't answer all those questions at once, but for folks who are in the older end of the spectrum, who are in that high-risk category, we felt that the district should really consider offering an early retirement buyout so that these folks have an opportunity to make a choice about whether or not they want to continue, or are they in a position to consider retiring. And so we haven't heard back from the board, of course, because they don't really talk to you after something is read. They just absorb the information. But they were also each given a copy of the letter, so they have that. And it's a conversation that we're going to continue to have with our district, and we're going to continue to encourage them to consider some type of an early retirement buyout for our more senior union members. All right. Okay. So there's that. So now let's go to the thing that a lot of us have been talking about since yesterday, which was the governor's the governors may revise, right? And the big takeaway was the overall cuts to public education. And we're looking at somewhere around 10%, give or take. The governor did a really good job of identifying what the projected total cut would be to public education and how some of that cut would be offset by other monies from other accounts in other areas so that they reduce that number as much as possible. And then, of course, there still is the hope that something will be done at the federal level to offset deficits for individual states. So not just the state of California, but really all the other states that are also living through this. Now, we are in a unique position because we did have a pretty healthy surplus of cash. If any of you follow the state budget, you would have seen, you would have heard talk about that in January when the original proposed budget came out and some of the things that the state wanted to do, or the governor wanted to do with that additional funds. But now he's saying they're going to divert pretty much all of that into backfilling the 54 billion plus hole that's been created since the COVID-19 has kind of taken over and caused us to close down businesses and that kind of thing, delay tax returns and so on and so forth. But what does that mean? Well, you also probably heard about the proposed 10% cut in pay for state employees. Now, I want you to understand that that does not necessarily include us. We do get paid through funds from the state, but we are not employees of the state. We work for our local district, and our local district and the local union, that's all of us, have a contract, and we need to abide by that contract. So if there are going to be any cuts to salaries or even freezes to salary schedules, that would have to be negotiated, right? It could not be just imposed on us per se. And so your association, your union is going to fight as hard as we can, not only to keep jobs, keep cuts as far away from the classroom as possible, but also to preserve what we already have when it comes to our pay and our benefits. And those are priorities for us. So, we talk about the safety and the health and safety of our members when the fall comes around, but we also want to ensure that there are jobs for folks and that our things like our pay and our benefits are maintained. And so the 10% cut is for state employees, doesn't necessarily include us. Now, there will be cuts to the budget, which means there'll be reduced funding provided to our district. And our district's going to have to figure out how they're going to compensate for a decrease in funding. And that's where the bargaining or the negotiating part comes in. There's some things district can do on their own to reduce costs. And then there are things that they can bargain with both us and our classified sisters and brothers in order to reduce costs. But again, those types of conversations occur at the negotiations table and are part of the negotiations process. All right. What you can do, though, is contact your legislators and encourage them to support federal funding for states to offset some of these financial holes that are occurring or are going to occur because of the expenditures that our states are putting out in order to support their citizens during this pandemic. And so, like locally, Salud Carbajal, he's a local representative. He's our local representative at the state level. And what I'm going to do is you go back to this email. There's a link in the announcements. Pull that up, and it's a flyer. In that flyer is a phone number. You call that phone number. You answer a few quick questions, mostly like your address or your zip code, so they know where you are. They get you to the right legislator, and then they'll direct you to that legislator's office. We have a little bit of a script in there, some things you can say, essentially encouraging our legislators to support funding for the states so that we can make sure that all our programs and services continue, and not just public education, right, but emergency services, health services. Our state has an amazing system for supporting folks with special needs, a lot better than a lot of other states. If you've ever been to other states and talked about this, but all those services are paid through state funding, and so if we can get some federal dollars to backfill some of that, then we can. Then our state government can significantly decrease the financial impact that's going to occur to not only public education but other state-funded services. Okay, so go back to the email, find that link, click on it. There's a phone number. You call it, enter a little bit of information. It'll direct you to your federal legislator, and then you can leave a message about what you'd like them to do or like to encourage them to do when it comes to providing additional funds from the state level. All right, I think that is everything I have for today. Yep, looking at my list, and that's all. So I really appreciate you taking the time and hanging out with me. This is a Friday, so enjoy your Friday, enjoy your weekend, and we will talk soon. Thanks, everybody.